Welcome to Build Out Brief. This is Jim Kunkel, and I so appreciate your support of the Build Out live stream that broadcasts each Wednesday at noon Eastern Daylight Time. The live stream that you're watching right now will be starting in just 1 minute. Let me take this opportunity to talk about Build Out Brief. This content series is a result of viewers like you who overwhelmingly requested that I add a supplemental series to Build Out that centers on professional business topics, is more focused, and global on guests. If you're thinking about starting a live stream, then StreamYard is a platform for you. It's what I use to build you Build Out Brief. After the stream, see the comment or the description section for my special savings referral link. Now, when it comes to having a professional live stream and winning over viewers, you need to make sure that your graphics and supporting promotional items are the best. All of the creative content for Build Out and Build Out Brief are designed and produced with Canva. You should check out Canva. See the comment or description section for my special Canva referral link. Welcome to Build Out Brief. I'm Jim Kunkel. Joining me this evening is Juan Caballero, who's the president of Naval and Industrial Solutions. Also, I'd like to mention that Juan is a master coding inspector. Juan, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. I'm very happy to be here again with you in one of your excellent programs. I'm very happy to join you because you always have topics that are of great interest to the audience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we're going to be having a conversation on doing business in Panama, which obviously you have a lot of experience working not only in Panama, but also in other Latin America countries and also here in the States as well. One, before we get into our conversation, if you could do a favor, if you could provide a background on your professional background, and then also talk a little bit about Naval and Industrial Solutions, what your business does.
Okay, Jim, many thanks. First of all, I would like to mention that I'm a coatings and corrosion professional. I'm an industrial engineer. I have a master's degree in business direction with a specialty in strategical management. And I'm a founder member. We are a first family company that we've founded about 13 years ago. And we are a fully independent third-party inspection company for steel and concrete coatings on industrial and marine structures, mainly.
Very good. Also, too, you are on the board with the AMP organization, and also you represent the Panama chapter as well. Is that correct?
That's correct, Jim. I'm very fortunate. I'm very pleased to be able to serve on the AMPP board, where I can, share with other peers and put our little sand grain to promote and to increase the level of quality in the industry, and also locally with the Panama chapter. We have been working together with you as well, like for 5 years now, and it has been awesome track all the way. So I'm very pleased to be part of this.
Yeah, definitely. I was very, very proud and glad to help out, and not only in Panama, but the other chapters that were established under SSPC, the Society for Protective Coatings, in Central and South America as well. So for our agenda this evening, Juan and I are going to be talking about reasons to start a business in Panama, how to start a business in Panama, and then why you really want to incorporate your startup in Panama. And Panama is a very unique country because of the Panama Canal. So much freight, so much trade goes in and through Panama. And Panama tends to be a center of gravity for a lot of the financial and service markets. You are, in a way, with doing coatings inspection and other services like that, you're providing services not only for local-based business owners, facility owners, and then the assets that are in the country, but sometimes international as well. The big thing that I was always impressed with Panama was the amount of bunkering you do, and that's bunkering is where it's basically oil storage. And how much bunkering is done in Panama? I was always curious to see if you know the answer to that question.
Well, I don't have the exact figures. I used to collaborate, or I still collaborate a lot with the Maritime Chamber of Panama, and with our common friend over there, and in the total history of Panama, the bunker industry has always been one of the prime source of economic growth in Panama, and it's because it floats alongside the Panama Canal itself. So a lot of vessels that pass through the canal, they need to take fuel on different oil storage terminals. And also there is a huge economy around the barges that also take fuel, water, and other supplies to these large vessels. So this is one of the prime industries here in Panama, along with others like telecommunications as well, tourism that is a little bit low now for all this stuff going on the whole world with the pandemic, but I know this area will improve as well. But mainly as you mentioned, a lot of business is around the Panama Canal that brings a lot of commerce around, and also is served by the financial sector, all type of services that are around this Panama Canal infrastructure.
Yeah, and the thing with Panama, very modern economy, laws and business laws, very well established for years, and it's made it, again, like I always say, a center of gravity when it comes to the banking industry, finance, and other service sectors. In looking at the structures regarding organization for a business, what you're looking at is in most modern economies, you have sole ownerships, you have partnerships, and then you have corporations, which exist in Panama and obviously a lot of other countries too. There's a lot of differences when it comes to Panama. For example, with a Panama General Partnership, where you have a partner, you're liable for whatever your partner does. So if there's any civil action or criminal action, you can be held accountable for your business partners. Now, to compensate for that, there is a limited partnership, but it doesn't really protect you from some aspects of liability from your partners that might do something illegally, fraud, or something unethical, and be charged either criminally or civilly. And then Panama civil partnerships, which tend to be more the family businesses. And the uniqueness with Panama and the United States is that, we have a lot of citizens that come back and forth between Panama and obviously the United States. There's always been a very long and strong relationship between both countries. In fact, I think in 1903 was when Panama really kind of adopted going on to the U.S. dollar. And, you're currently using the U.S. dollar. How does, when it comes to inflation and everything, what's the current status right now with inflation for products and everything?
Well, first of all, I know that the fact that we are a dollarized economy helps a lot with the inflation situation that maybe other countries that have different currencies suffer a little bit more. But as we as a country, since its independence in 1903, we have a strong dollar position, and there is not so much fluctuations with the money exchange. So that is something that also helps a lot the Panama economy to be kind of stabilized even in hard times. And I think we are not as much as affected like other countries that have currency exchange fluctuations or variations, and that's why our economy one of the strongest economies in Latin America. We are always among the top 3 economies in Latin America for at least the 15 last years. So I really know that having a dollarized economy is something that have always helped Panama to come back from other situations that we have had in the past that maybe not pandemic itself, but some difficult situations that the country have gone. And we have been able as a country to rebuild ourselves very, very fast. So I think this is based all also around the dollarized economy.
Yeah, I can see that. And you know, the other thing too with Panama, relatively stable when it comes to tax base. Obviously, a lot of goods and services are taxed. When companies do start up, especially with foreign investment into companies, there is a you have a social security system that is being paid into. Tourism, I believe there's a 10% tax on tourism. And obviously, tourism is a big economic boom for Panama because of the uniqueness from rainforest to all other type of activities that you can do in Panama. And then the other thing is, you know, looking at sales tax. I believe you have a sales tax around 7%, if I remember correctly. Is there a value added tax as well on top of that?
Just as you mentioned, just in the tourism industry, we have hotel tax that is up about 10% on top of the 7% IT BMS. That is the tax that we have here locally in Panama for sales tax.
In my time
also alcohol and cigarettes have additional tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those products as well. And I know my time in Panama, I had the opportunity to go to some of the trade schools and then also for the service industries as well. Copa is primarily is headquartered, if I'm correct, out of Panama, but a lot of airlines do use call centers from Panama. So you have a lot of training schools related to customer service and support. And that, you know, is a big driver and a big industry as well for the country. And that makes a good opportunity for international companies to come in to base support services out of Panama. English seems to be a very strong second language, and obviously Spanish is going to be important, but it's the national language for you. When it comes to trade schools and other type of training that's provided for workers and also for professionals, you know, how does everything, you know, what in your opinion, you know, how good is that for international companies coming in? How can they take advantage of that?
Well, I can mention that that's a very good question because it's a good point that attracts international investment. A lot of things have happened in Panama in the last 20 to 15 years, and there have been these trade schools that have been preparing the workforce in different areas of technical and technical craft, like electricians, like let's say construction people. As you say, they also prepare people for hospitality business and different type of trades that prepare the workforce. So when these industries from abroad come and settle, because a lot of companies are settling in Panama, their regional headquarters. Like I can mention some of them, like maybe Caterpillar, 3M, and a lot of you and I are in the coating business, so a lot of coating manufacturers, global coating manufacturers, also have been established in Panama in the last 2 decades, for example. And it is important that these trade schools prepare the Panamanian workforce to be ready when these companies come to Panama, and they are able to provide employmentship to the Panamanian people. So the trade schools have been playing a big role in the advance in Panama for being ready to have a qualified and trained workforce.
Very good, very good. And some of the reasons to open a business or do business in Panama, low barriers to entry. In the research that I did, it seems like the bureaucracy is very small. It seems to be more in tune with pulling in foreign investment, and I think that's what's been the secret of the success for Panama for years, is having a very friendly relationship with international businesses that's benefited the Panamanian people, but also to the country when it comes to revenues and also having funding to do programs and things like that for the citizens. Another benefit to no income tax on overseas profits. So businesses that are incorporated in Panama, there is no tax on the foreign profits that are generated. So that is a huge advantage there. Obviously, that's why you see so many companies that are incorporating or they're basing their operations out of Panama and then branching out from there into other parts of Latin America. Let's see here. I got a comment here from Guillermo, who was on Monday evening. Panama is the connection point for our regions amongst America, and having American dollar currency helps to bridge commercial relations, and Panamanians are warmth and easygoing people. Greetings to you, Guillermo.
Yes, I think that you have mentioned very good points. Maybe I can refer to one of them is what is called here, maybe abroad also is called the same way, like the offshore companies.
Mm-hmm.
Panama have a special tax incentive for offshore companies, where these type of companies can settle here in Panama and do business outside of Panama. So they will not have any. They will not have to pay any tax to the IRS here in Panama. But they cannot do some business inside the boundaries of Panama. But there are a lot of incentive for this type of companies, like offshore business, and there is also a lot of special trade zones for different companies that can also come to settle in these trade zones, and they can do some part of their business locally, but they also have another special incentive regarding taxes, regarding they have a special incentive maybe to hire foreign people that have any career or any technical certification that cannot be supplied locally, and they can hire these people from abroad as well. But there is a lot of incentives right now in Panama for doing business and to attract the investors from other countries.
Yeah, and you kind of covered one of the benefits there when you're talking. The other thing too, I think that's a benefit has been a strong government. Obviously, there's been a lot of change. When you were a younger boy, you've seen what happens when you have kind of a government that's at odds with the whole rest of the world. Panama's been extremely stabilized for decades, and also too. The people, the citizens of Panama seem to have a very strong voice when it comes to picking elected officials and holding them accountable. And I firsthand in Panama got to see that when I was visiting with you, and we got to see some of the protests and demonstrations that were going on in Panama. So having that stable, strong government and having the citizens being the ones that are really the ones kind of, let's say, in control versus government officials. That's important as well.
Yeah, that's a very important point that also helps to know for the foreign investors to know that they are coming to politically stabilized company. And as you mentioned, we have had a lot of decades now that there have been a smooth transition from parties to parties. Because as you know, like in the 1980s, we had a dictatorship like for 20 years, but hopefully that is over now. And from the first government that we have after that 20 years of dictatorship, the transitions and the smoothness of the political handing over from one party to another have been really, really impressive.
Yeah, that's super important. And in looking on our last topic, we'll cover is challenges for doing business in Panama, and also in the aspect of really why you should want to incorporate is not understanding how the Panamanian business laws interact with other international laws. Like you had mentioned, you have an IRS. Here in the States, we have an IRS as well. And other countries have a form of tax collection. So, not really understanding how the interaction happens between different countries, what is typically, headquartered in one country versus another operations. So, you have to be very mindful of business laws when it comes to the different countries that you might be operating in. The other aspect is going to be a language barrier, but for Panama, really English and Spanish are the two predominant languages you have. And I know from all the trade schools in the service industry schools that I've seen on my travels, um, I think they speak better English than I do. And so it's always been very easy to navigate to work in Panama, but also to, I think, for companies that are coming in that need both Spanish and English, Panama is a perfect country for that when it comes to hiring staff and then having those positions filled and being able to service both Spanish and English speaking. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up is going to be, obviously finding talent when you need to find staffing and talent. And you and I had the opportunity. You work closer to them as, I believe, a Fundator. So maybe you could talk a little bit about Fundator and some of the other trade schools that operate in Panama.
Yes, well, as Fundator, there is also another trade schools that, as I said or mentioned earlier, play a very important role. But like for Fundator, they focus a lot on, let's say, like low income people from some sectors of the capital city, and they have been doing really a great job because they have formed a lot of different craft, like people that work on the craft. And regarding English, they have been doing a lot of international relations with other universities, for example, in the United States, where professors come from the United States and did some before the pandemic, right? They were coming and they were English spoken teachers that came and trained these young people. They also have a program for grown up, but I'm really impressed with the program for the younger people. I think you went with us one time, and you can notice the emotion that these guys have because they know that they will be able to serve the society. Maybe if they don't come to these trade schools, they may be on a gang or something doing bad to society. But it's a very impressive social rescue they do there, and they are forming people of good for the society.
Indeed, indeed. I had a great opportunity a couple of times, obviously traveling with you to visit some of these, and also too on the industrial side when it comes to a lot of the trades, to see the training that goes on. And you've done a lot of that training with the industrial painters on the blasting and coating application side. A lot of great industrial service work that's done in Panama. A lot of vessels are brought into Panama for repair and servicing, and then also too in the aspect of going through the Panama Canal, you have to have operators that will navigate the ships, excuse me, that go through the canal. Um, that is super critical, I think, for companies looking at Panama to be able to open up operations. So,
And
um,
let me comment something here that
mhm.
you brought into my mind. Recently, there was um, a new company that win the bid to run the shipyard, the local shipyard for 20 years. I think it will be a Spaniard organization that will take over. I think the first of 2022, and this news is very important because as we are talking about doing business in Panama, for a long time the shipyard in Panama is start to operate about 1913 with the Panama Canal construction, and this has always been a good place for business, not only for national business but to regional, and even from the U.S. There were, I remind me my times in the shipyard. There were a lot of people, technicians coming from the U.S. as well to do some jobs in the shipyard, and it's the biggest shipyard in the Pacific for the whole Latin America region. So this is a very very important point that you mentioned. I think it's very very important to mention it here. So look for more news about this new Panamanian shipyard.
Yeah,
It,
that's
it was closed though for almost 2 years, and it was operating for the last year, more or less, with limited capacity. But this company will invest $20 million to rebuild the shipyard and put it again on track.
wow, that's impressive, and that's really good news. One, before we close out the stream, I wanted to introduce next week, or Monday, excuse me, Monday evening's guest. Going to have Sam Navarro, who's a VP of Business Development with IPC Industries. We're going to be talking about rules of trade show etiquette. So join us on Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here, and we'll have a really good conversation. One, I appreciate this opportunity to have a conversation with you tonight on doing business in Panama. A question for you: how can people get in contact, other than some of the social media sites? How can people get in contact with you?
Okay, I think the easiest way is by email. My email, our company email is info@ nainso, that spells nainso.com, and from there I can reply any question that the audience might have. I would love to help or direct them to more specialized. There is a lot of firms here in Panama that help foreign investors to do all the paperwork and stuff. That, by the way, is very easy here in Panama. They don't even have to be present here, so these firms can guide them through the whole process. And I think in 2 weeks you can be having your corporation incorporated in Panama. And well, any starting point, I will be more than glad to help. And my social medias, Master Coding Inspector, or Nine Solutions, NAINSO Solutions, and that's a good way to find me.
Excellent, excellent. Well, have a good rest of your evening, and hopefully we get to talk again real soon on some other topics.
Thank you, Jim. It was great to join you today.
All right, great. We'll see you later, and everyone, we'll see you Monday.
Okay, bye. Thank you.